Okay, thank you very much. 2 minutes to 8. You're still live on 94.3 Focus FM. Now I have with me in here Ebenezer Henaku Jr., who's also who's the host for the Easy Morning Show right on Focus 94.3. Eben contested for the presidency during the last elections in the SRC general elections. Now Eben also had issues with the process that took place and then had to result in a court case. Eben is here to tell us exactly what transpired the previous semester, and then whether, of course, he's seen some signals of that in this year's or this semester's election.
Thank you so much for that question. First and foremost, one of the issues under which we contested that issue of that is for last semester happened to be on issues of natural laws of justice, where it states that if you are doing anything, for instance, let me just go into our Akan language for people to really understand, so that omo can be say Akan for can be say bi akoko kora no twanitia o man nsuo nom, you don't I mean who's time quality you get it. It's a natural law of justice. You don't do things without involving. It's like you create a rule for me and you don't involve me. We are not in an autocratic system. Even in a monarchical system where the queen or the king is so much powerful, you don't create rules to govern people without their own knowledge. It doesn't bind them. So that was the first thing.
How weren't you involved? I mean,
let me ask you something
about the criteria earlier.
Okay, now the issue is, before even that criteria, was I involved? And you can ask any of the competitors, including SK Opon himself, who happens to be the president currently. Was he involved in the setting up of that additional rule? He was not. Neither of us were included in this process. And then again, you ask of were we aware? It's another issue. Even after the person had come up with those rules and regulations, the person also did not make us aware. For instance, let's say I go through a process and then I'm told after the process that marking scheme is pegged as 66. So absurd. What
after
an
the
odd
process,
number.
you were not knowledgeable.
I enter into a race where, first and foremost, before then we had a meeting with all aspirants where I asked the question, what constitutes disqualification? Based on the experience I've had in NUCS as a former PRO and of course in the National Inquiry Committee, and sat on various panels. And so I asked what constitutes disqualification. But of course, you don't expect me to do the work of the EC or the vetting panel. Don't forget, it's not even up to the EC to set up a criteria for a vetting committee to say that they should be disqualified or not qualify somebody.
So who's it up to?
It's up to the vetting committee. That is why they have the vetting committee and the chairperson of the vetting committee. Okay. So besides that, and then you go through the process based on the assumptions that I was not informed that the 66 is the purged mark. I assume conventionalities. That is what has been the convention, and that is 50. Anybody who has followed the process of elections on campus will realize that the convention has been 50. Of course, for presidency, sometimes
you were not told before then that it wasn't 50, so you assumed it was 50.
Yes, because that has been a convention. Now, after you go through the race, and then you are informed that you've been taken out because you had somewhere 65 or something, and then the scheme has been purged at 66. I guess any person in his own reasonable sense will have to assume certain things, that something has gone wrong somewhere. So those were some of the issues under which we contested it. That is the natural laws of justice, of which if you don't involve me in a rule which you are setting to bind me, I don't think I am supposed to abide by those rules.
So what you're saying is that ignorance of the law is no excuse to the judge. It's a non-starter.
Yes.
Okay.
Because let's not make a mistake. If the rule, if you it's like we've had a referendum, okay, and you, the person involved, did not attend, it's different.
Okay.
If there was a meeting called and you did not attend and your colleagues accepted it, then they have made their contributions. That is quite different from where you go, you ask questions, and for reasons unknown to you, your questions are not really answered. You go further to probe, and nothing of that sort comes out. And then later on, you go in unaware. I think, as Mr. Oswald said here, that does not hold the person.
Okay. Do you see a similar thing happening this year?
Yeah. Seriously. Now, again, as I said, first and foremost, we are looking at the involvement of aspirants in these additional rules and regulations. We live in a democratic dispensation, and of course within a society where democracy is ruling. We are no more in an autocratic system where somebody can just connive with a walking stick or something and then come up with issues. So therefore, again, let's not forget, we live in an intellectual society, and if anybody sits in his room and design anything to bind people, though somebody might say Ebenezer is not part of this race, so why is he so much interested? Let's not forget, I will vote. As to whoever I will vote for, nobody really should know, or nobody should care about that. But then I will definitely vote for somebody, and as to what the judgment of that person will be is my concern. Because for you, maybe you are going to vote for Mr. A, I might decide to vote for Mr. B, and for me, he is the best leader of all. And so if you come and tell me because the person did not get a mark of 70%, on what basis that criteria was made, unknown to anybody, you know, there are so much ambiguities in this whole additional process. Let me get you one, for instance. It says that
quickly,
applicants, that is the third one. It says applicants are required to provide information about themselves that are true and accurate. That is perfect. Of course, if you give false information, it goes against you. But then failure to do so comes with its dire consequences. Why not a specific consequence that, oh, you'll be taken out of vetting or this?
I think that's too broad.
It's ambiguous.
Okay.
Yeah. What is the consequence? Will you be sacked out of the university? Or what? It's very ambiguous. Again, you go like a candidate not recommended loses his eligibility to present himself to the electorate for voting. Don't forget, this is one of the issues we contested last semester. And then, for clarification, not recommended does not mean disqualification or vice versa per the constitution. Per which constitution? Because again, you come down and you realize that per the letter written by the Judicial Council chairperson to the SRC president and copied to the Speaker of Parliament on the 31st of August 2009, Article 25(3)(d) to I of the SRC Constitution as amended should be disregarded due to its illegality. So this one is talking about as amended, and this one is talking about per the Constitution. What Constitution?
How many constitutions does the SRC have?
That is another ambiguous issue, because as of now, information I'm gathering is that the Constitution as amended. The Constitution as amended. I think we have a JC here, so probably he can help me out. Has the residential committee of this university sat on the Constitution as amended? That is another issue.